time. Good luck to both runners as we prepare to take off here. As always, we're going to start off with a 1 minute, 8 second cutscene, give the runners a chance to either psych themselves out or psych themselves up for the run that they're going to have, going through the mental preparations of what they're going to be facing ahead. Now, both Uko and Ultimoice are top tier runners here. They are well experienced in the game and will be thinking ahead, planning on what their moves are going to be and how fast they're going to have to react to them. Planning ahead for the stutters, the menuing, and everything that's involved with running through this. A couple of the things we're going to be looking out for that may play determining factors in the race is their movement patterns. Both of them do know the manipulation for Onet and have utilized it to their advantage, not in the race, that's not allowed, but in their regular runs. So we'll probably be seeing some pathing here that is very familiar to the Onet manipulation. It's a pretty straightforward path and pretty efficient. We'll also probably be seeing some aggressive stutter stepping and some high tier fast menu management for their items and movements in battle. Story-wise, as always, the meteor has hit. We go up to investigate it and get stopped by our friendly neighbor Pokey and told to go home, stop annoying people, and we go back and go to bed. We spend some time sleeping, and then we wake up and see Pokey knocking at the door. Lost his little brother, and we're asked to help fix the situation. I did not notice if Ultimo did get the bread roll already, but if he did, that will open it up to possibly being stolen if he does get into an encounter with the crow. But at this point, I don't think either runner would be worried about the bread roll. We'll see Uko's patent going behind the couch, unfortunately getting caught on the sub-pixel and eliminating the time advantage there. And we get our first glimpse of the enemies out there. Uko having a clean exit. Same with Ulti. Enemies far out of the way, both being able to get stuck on environmental objects. Ulti being chased down by that dog, getting into a pincer operation there, but can very easily stutter around it with his ability level at stuttering. But the dog decided to give chase, so we'll see, and ends up taking the dog fight. Otherwise, Uko had a very clean walk up and is already at the top of the hill at 514. Ulti being chased down by another dog, but very swiftly moves around using the environment to capture the dog on the trees, and will be able to get up the rest of the hill without incident. Now, as they make their way to Starman Jr. after this, there is a bit of luck there determining what will happen. Basically, just how many turns it will take for Starman Jr. to go down. Each cycle is consisting of two rounds because we're waiting on Buzz to attack. Buzz will only attack on every even turn and Psychic on every even turn. Psychic Shield to make it impossible for you to die this early in the game. Starman Jr. has a total of 200 HP, and ideally Buzz will take Starman Jr. down in 2 rounds, doing both over 100 damage each time or very close to it. Starman Jr. can do a total of 4 things. He can do 2 different fire attacks, Alpha or Beta, can do a freeze attack, which is the shorter of the 2 attacks, or ideally, Starman Jr. will guard the shortest turn out of all of them. Uko having a sub 8 Starman Jr., that's a very good non-manipulated time there. Uko will continue to advance the plot by going and returning Pokey and Picky home, and we'll see the unfortunate spoiler death of Buzz. Ulti here just finishing Starman Jr. with a time of 8:45, just about a minute for that battle. Had a couple of long cycles there, but this difference here is not too great and can easily be made up in the upcoming sections where RNG will be determining a bit of how fast these runners will be going. I'm pretty sure at this point, Ultimo, knowing he's probably behind based on the execution of Uko, but is probably not too concerned. Has strong execution this entire tournament, averaging around, it looks like a 107. Uko also being strong in the execution, having times between 106 and 108. So this is definitely going to be a close race. For our first shopping sequence here, we pick up the Mr. Baseball cap from our friend who treasures it. We turn around and sell it for $99 to allow us to pick up a couple more defensive items. Overall, it balances out to have one more defense point than what Mr. Baseball cap would offer by itself between the cheap bracelet and the baseball cap. And then we double the attack points from 2 to 4 with the cracked bat to the T-ball bat. Uko grabbing a preemptive can of fruit juice. Interesting move there. I see most runners usually grabbing it after, but seeing that the enemy is there, that's probably a good move there to allow him to escape quickly without additional encounters and to heal up without using life up. The 3 encounters we have before going into Frank, all are not mandatory, but they pretty much set us up perfectly for level up right after Frank to get some additional psychic points back for Frankenstein Mark II, and just sets us up pretty nicely for it. Both runners have a possibility of getting a bag of fries from the Yes Man Jr. I think it's like a 1 in 16 chance for a little bonus healing item there. Depending on where you're at life points, it could be used to supplement between here and Frank. As runners are going through Frank, they're going to be considering their options. Anytime they get hit, they're definitely going to heal, because if Frank were to come out swinging, it could put them in perilous range of dying and having to walk back. Even if the first attack was small and you continue the bash, the next attack could be large, and then you have 8 HP, and then you're not going to be able to heal off if Frank gets off an attack. Frankenstein Mark II is a scripted fight. Every odd turn, it's going to be a waste a turn, burst of steam. Every even turn is going to be an attack, and the first set of that attack will be a light attack versus a heavy attack. The runners will use that to their advantage, and Uko already has Frankenstein Mark II down at 1320, but Ultimo will be considering these factors as well as he prepares to face off against Frankenstein Mark II after Frank. They can use the rolling HP meter to be able to eke out more use of their life points. Uko foregoing the heal at the arcade there, choosing to use life up, and fortunately picks up the butterfly along the way this early, saving some extra time here of the text and the Ulti also taking down Frankenstein Mark II without an issue. So both runners are on decent pace right now to clear out Onet. Ultimo probably being a little further behind than he prefers, but we do have Slug Grind coming up here, which is a great equalizer. Ultimo also getting the butterfly. Before both runners go up to Giant Step, we'll see them most likely stopping to withdraw extra money and to pick up some extra burgers along the way to fill out their inventory slots. They're hoping that these burgers will last them through the cop fight after Giant Step. You'll have a little bit of movement optimization here from both runners and getting a text skip, just saving them a couple frames there of text, telling them that the door is locked. We know the door is locked. We don't need the game to tell us that. Uko now into Giant Step, entering the slug grind portion of the run. The runners are going to be looking for 22 slugs as they move their way up to the top floor, typically grabbing 16 before deciding whether or not they're going to take the 6-pack at the top or continue grinding at the bottom. And depending on how their numbers go, will probably determine their strat. Uko there getting a single slug. Gonna throw off that count a little bit, but it is quicker, and if you can get multiple of those, that'll easily make it up and shorten the time for the slug grind. So after this, Uko will be at 5. My personal preferred strategy for this is to do about 12 on the bottom floor, then followed by 4 on the middle floor and 6 on the top floor. Some prefer to grind it all out in the bottom. But this will bring Uko to 9 slugs and Ultimo to 2, getting just an odd number to jump out of the group there. Looks like the path to Ness was blocked and the game could only resolve 2 of the routes versus all of them. Fortunately, by being able to break apart those last 2 slugs, Ultimo is going to make up a little bit of time there on that. So I believe the count is 4 Ultimo, Uko 9. Ulti once again using the enemy pathing routines to his advantage to break them apart and fight them individually, cutting the time down that he spends in battle and spending more in the overworld. So I believe this will bring Ultimo to 8 and Uko to 14. Surprised that last one did not gang up there. Ulti once again breaking them apart singly. All right, this should bring Uka to 18 slugs. We probably will see him either finish it off on the bottom floor or maybe a pack up at the middle floor here. Ultimo here, I believe, at 12. We'll see what happens after the next pack of slugs here. Oh, Ulti got a bomb drop. I missed that. Hopefully it will work out in his favor instead of cursing him to death from Titanic Ant, as some people have mentioned in the past. Now we get to see the runner's stuttering skills put up to the test here as they move through here. As they move, it could end up being into more groups of enemies. The more groups of enemies that are on the screen, the tougher it is to stutter as the lag increases, because your frame to do these inputs shortens considerably. Some of the things that certainly surprises newer runners, if they happen to get the bomb drop in an unmanipulated run, is it's not going to deal the high amount, not guaranteed, I should say, to deal the high amount of damage that it does in a manipulated run. So people have to keep their eye out on that. Uko, knowing that he has the right amount of offense to go past the slug or the Antoids here, looking for 24 offense, and by having that, Uko is able to instantly win against any single fight. All right, now as we enter Titanic Ant here, the runners will be treating it kind of like Frank. Anytime there's damage dealt to themselves, they will most likely be healing. As we approach these final stages here, we might see them taking a little more risk on that, depending on how risk averse they are to it. Because it can be just like Frank, where Titanic Ant can kill you very quickly. It has a light attack for 20, heavy attack for 40, and a smash attack for 60. Ulti, unfortunately, getting a red throw from the Antoid there. And Uko dispatching of Titanic Ant with no issues. Clearing that in the 22-minute mark. So we'll see the cop fight after this, and Ulti, we'll see if he has just as good a luck against Ant and see where that bomb plays into it. Ultimo at this point also knowing that he has the right amount of offense to take it down. Unfortunately, getting ambushed at the door by the Antoids. Sometimes they just spawn in the right spot where you're getting in the counter no matter what. You want to keep your psychic points, and you want to enter the Titanic Ant fight with as much HP as possible. So we'll probably see him use a burger and go forward to the fight. Now, even though Uko is this far ahead, there's still a lot that can happen in the run here to even it out. We got cops coming up, the cop gauntlet here. If the cops want to take you out and drain all your resources, they will. Unfortunately for Ulti, Titanic Ant did put up a shield of light, but the bomb came in handy and ignored it, and we're moving on. Couple things in preparation for comps. You want to consider how many burgers you have to use as life up instead of your psychic points. You want to try and conserve those for strong to at least get 2 Rockins off. On average, I see most runners coming into this spot with about 5 burgers is, I guess, the ideal number. Although there doesn't seem to be any consequence for plus or minus 2 burgers at that point based on a simulation Drifting Skies ran. But this general strategy for the cops here is you're going to bash your way through. When you get to around 55 HP, you're going to do a burger. And if you end up down at around 30 HP, you're going to do a life up. Other than that, you're going to bash your way through and hope you get through quickly and unscathed. The cops here do have a chance to drop a healing item, a hamburger. I believe it's a 1 in 16 chance for that hamburger to drop. And you can factor that into your healing plan, but you can't count on it because it's not guaranteed. Uko getting some pretty handy smashes in his cop gauntlet here. Is on pace for a very, very strong O-net time. Seeing that he had the psychic points available and just trying to get through the cop fight as fast as possible, deciding to use PSI Lull to quickly end the fight. Unfortunately, it wasn't strong enough to 1-round it, so quick two-round fight there. One of the things to keep in mind is, unfortunately, PSI Rocking does have a chance to miss on Captain Strong. The rate at which Rocking will hit is based on your speed compared to the opponent's, and if your opponent outspeeds, Rocking will miss, and it can miss 2 times in a row, which is highly unfortunate if it does happen to yourself. Ulti here is making his way through the Cop Gauntlet. I believe he just entered into the second fight. Strategically using life up and burgers as necessary, and we'll see if he manages to complete the pace for the sub 30 O-net that he looks like to be on as well. Uko is on an insane pace here. Very, very strong O-net time for a non-manipulated time. Heading into Tucson to move into the next section of the run. Now, Uko here has been practicing the Tucson manipulation that has been coming out, which changes the normal save spot for the run, unless you're doing Vogler strats. So hopefully Uko will remember to save. Sometimes that muscle memory can get into our way. Uko choosing to withdraw all the money. Once all the shopping is done for the next sequence, when you do the Death Warp, you will have $200 left over as long as you don't die at any other point. Being ideal to just shorten the sequence just a little bit more. Ultimo entering into Captain Strong here, had a little low of a roll for the first one, but as long as this one deals over 90, we're good. So Ultimo is out of O-net at a 2850 mark, both sub 30, which is a great time for an unmanipulated run. It's just that Uko's having that much stronger of a run at this point. So casually, you will typically save and heal casually after doing cops. Stay at either the Tucson Hotel or the Onet, and you get a psychic call out from Paula saying, "Help me! I'm a person you've never met before. I hear water. Come find me." And that prompts your exploration for the Tucson and gives you the plot point on what you're supposed to be doing next. So the runners here will be going into PRV, Peaceful Rest Valley, with its wonderful purple water. And did Ultimo just skip out on the department store? Or did I miss him going into that? Okay, Ultimo is choosing to withdraw at the bank or at the bus station, and will be saving here. So it looks like Ultimo is already planning on an alternate death warp here, probably called the Vogler is what I'm thinking he's going to go with here. It's where you end up picking up a cup of life noodles that's available in Peaceful Rest Valley, and when you death warp, you return to the bus station. Then you use the life noodles on Paula, and you cut off about a third of the triangle of the walk you're making there. Unfortunately, in Peaceful Rest Valley, that alley where you get the couple life noodles can be extremely dangerous and full of spawns. But the potential payoff in the time saved is very high. And with Ultimo being this far behind, I'm not surprised in the play he is making here for that. Uko. Uko at that spot right there has managed to soft lock himself behind the cowboy kid and the wild mushroom, pinning the cowboy kid there. So Uko has created his own soft lock spot there, and Uko doing some extra shopping here, picking up the copper bracelet early. I guess looking for that extra spot of defense going through PRV instead of doing that shopping over at the Happy Happy Village department store or drugstore. All right, we see Ulti going for his first run through of the PRV section. Unfortunately, getting hit by the UFO. The UFO has very fast movement going sideways and can very easily swing into you. You are able to outwalk the UFO, though, when going vertically up and down. And unfortunately, the speed is so fast of the UFO that you're just going to need to use rocking to kill it and hope it hits. Just like the crow, though, the UFO can be trapped behind environmental objects. You just gotta be in the right spots for that to happen. And being in the open field like that, there was no escape unless it got caught. So the runners high five here, passing each other off. Ultimo going back to find out about the pencil eraser and get it, and Uko will be heading into the main portion of Peaceful Rest Valley here. You've got whirling robos, the UFOs, the sprouts, and Uko could be potentially pincered here, but some good movement there allows the whirling robo to be trapped behind the rock and allow him to get by. You do have options of either going up to the upper side of the loop or the lower side of the loop. Upper side, you do have a little bit of a higher chance of getting pincered. It just depends on where the enemy spawns are, whether it pushes you north or you go normally to the south. Ultimo on the other side here is getting chased down by a dog. You can very easily kill the dog, but it will chase you down here in Tucson. All right. Uko, bypassing the couple life noodles here, will be going straight into Happy Happy Village. I'll be interested to see if Uko will pick up the Holmes hat here. Unfortunately, Ulti getting red swirled here by the local the unassuming local guy here. He can be a bit annoying, doing an average of 20 damage. Just having to either bash your way through or using rocking and just deal with it. Uko here, heading on his way to Paula's cave here, needing to despawn the cultist. You don't want to get into the spawns or the encounters with the cultist as they are unrunnable. Due to them only having one enemy entry in the game, there is a scripted fight with them. And if you are to get into another fight with a scripted enemy, those flags persist for all instances of it. So unrunnable and scripted, unrunnable in a regular battle, even if you get a green swirl. I don't think I saw Uko stop into the drugstore to get the next bat to upgrade your attack up to 15. So Uko is going to be relying here on the psychic points to get through his next couple of battles here, and just rely on the copper bracelet he bought in Berglund Park, cutting out a larger shopping sequence. I could understand the risk that he took there. Being a higher level player here, just trying to keep things moving. But both of these runners are going to be taking more risks than we've seen in earlier stages of the tournament to keep that time low. Unfortunately, it could bite Uko in the butt if he gets into a situation where he runs out of psychic points. I'm not quite sure where he is at on item management here, but he did pick up the croissant to either extend the amount of turns he can go against Card Painter, or needs to refill against the normal 2 or 3 that you have. Ultimo here, making his way down to the couple life noodles. This is the area I was talking about earlier, where there is a high amount of spawns all around. And it's very dangerous to make the move for the couple life noodles, being able to get pincered extremely easily here. Fortunately, with some quick movement there, he was able to avoid the whirling robo, but that doesn't stop the spawns up above from potentially trapping him. He'll be able to outrun the oak tree if he gets enough of a leeway, but the other enemies up above will be issues. Fortunately, the everything else left except for the tree, and he was able to easily outwalk that. Uko here is now going against Mr. Carpainter, which is a fully scripted fight with the 6-turn cycle between a couple of rounds of lightning, a round of healing, and a round of applying a psychic shield and attacking with a paintbrush. The runners know the full cycle here and will be using that to their advantage to time their life ups and get the most out of their healing items and their life points. Fortunately for Uka, there was enough lightning strikes to come through to very quickly take down Mr. Card Painter with a very, very strong time here. Ulti, unfortunately, just getting to Paula to enter Shack Fight. Uko still having a great time here on insane pace. Ultimo here having to use 2 Rockins. Both cultists survived the first one. I did not see. Did Ultimo also skip the shopping sequence at Happy Happy? All right, so we got both runners here that did skip the shopping here. Uko will now be rescuing Paula officially and getting ready to death warp back to Tusend to complete the story cleanup there. Ultimo here will be taking his turn through Occultist HQ, and we'll see if he has great luck as well. Hopefully, having a quick Card Painter fight. He does have potential to make up time by the Vogler, although he did spend a chunk of time trying to get down to the Cup of Life Noodles and back up from it. Uko choosing to use the classic Mole playing rough for his choice of Death Warp. You're going to see Ness using an ATM card and Paula bashing. Paula bashing is just because the Mole can become confused and will need to have some sense smacked back into him to continue attacking potentially. You do encounter a potential problem if Paula's not there and the Mole is confused. But Uko having a nice clean Death Warp here, looked like about 5 or 6 rounds. So Uko had a strong Death Warp. Ulti here will be starting the Mr. Card Painter fight, and we'll see how many rounds it'll take Ulti. Fortunately, turn 1 here was a nice strong attack there, leaving some extra damage left over from when he heals up. Uko here will be performing the Tucson cleanup cycle. Basically, you clean up some story ends. Here you go, take Paula home, make her dad cry, go see the local thief in town, Everdread, after performing the elusive Everdread skip. He'll still be on his roof, and then go to the Chaos Theater and free up the Runaway 5. Ulti also getting past Mr. Card Painter will now be preparing for the Death Warp as well. We'll see what his choice of Death Warp is after retrieving Paula. You do still have to be careful. If you haven't completed some of the segments of the Tucson cleanup, you won't be able to proceed if Paula's dead, particularly going to see her father. The enemy still can very easily take out Paula if you do get into an encounter, so you do need to be cautious of the encounters still. Instead of going straight to the door, Uko very deftly dodged around the photo trigger there, which is a small rectangular spot there, which will trigger the photo man, which we have not seen yet, fortunately for me, the runner. Going in, talking to the Runaway 5, and seeing the first Runaway 5 show of the game. In total, there are 3 different shows you can watch. In the run, we watch 2, plus a Venus show. But in the Boogie Percent, this is the one and only show. Gives a quick about minute input break, 40 to 50 minutes into the run here, and allow your hands to rest up a little bit. Here we have the Runaway 5 in their multicolorful suits. The Tanzura brothers, which is in Mother 2, the Japanese version of the game, are in sleek black suits, which was obviously a parody of the Blues Brothers. Ultimo, also finishing off the Death Orb here, will have a shorter twist cleanup cycle now because of the Cup of Life noodles, able going straight to Polestar Preschool. Still having to avoid enemies, though, because the last thing Ultimo needs is to have Paula die and having to go up to the hospital. Uko here being ahead just by about, I believe, 2 minutes here. The race is not won yet. We still got the winner segment here, depending on execution and Pond Cave and Boogie 10 itself, to put its input into the run to decide which one of these 2 runners will end up winning. On Ulti's side, we're going to be seeing the same Runaway 5 show happen again. He'll get his chance to listen to the show, and Uko will be making his way into Threed. Now that Uko has reached Threed, Uko will be looking for a way into the northwestern part, up in the graveyard, which can be full of spawns. So Uko will need to be careful, watching out particularly for the flies, which are the ones that can really snipe and put a damper on the run here. The extra trash cans won't be so much of a problem to avoid, just as long as Uko is cautious. But unfortunately, getting red swirled at by the fly, being a single fly, it can easily be dispatched as long as can run away or Paula can pull off a freeze. This would not be a good spot for Uko to die, because Uko will have to go back to where the Runaway 5 dropped Nest off, and have to make the way back to here to see the zombies. It doesn't matter if it happens after seeing the zombies, because then you could just go straight to the hotel, but before is not a good time. It would give Ulti that much needed chance to catch up. But Uko pulls out just fine here. So after following a strange lady into the hotel, Ness is knocked unconscious, and that's the end of the game. No, just kidding. You find yourself waking up in a tomb, and Paula will reach out to Jeff, and we'll continue the story of the game. Alti will be making his way into Threed via the Runaway 5 to just go through the sequence as well. Everyone's favorite or potentially hated character, Jeff, receives the psychic call from Paula and launches his entrance into the party, having to go south and find the Skyrunner. Jeff is a polarizing character within the community. Some people love him, some people hate him. Just because of the RNG factor that Jeff can introduce into the run, depending on whether or not his bottle rockets will miss or hit for the enough damage. Now, Professor Maxwell here just annoys me. I've expressed it multiple times here. He gives you a key, an obviously broken, bent key that will not work, and still expects you to go unlock the locker, and then you come back and say, but I can't open it. It doesn't work. And he's like, I knew it wasn't going to work. Here, take this. And gives you the bad key machine. I know it's like conveyance and all that, to unlock doors without a key. I mean, why couldn't just give you the machine to start with and unlock the lockers? You still get the conveyance of what you're supposed to use it for, but really, it just annoys me. Either way, you are required to at least pick up one of the items out of the locker here. You don't even have to equip it. You're just required to pick up one, and then Tony will let you leave the school. And then you start making your way through winners. You do want to equip both the Holmes hat and the pop gun, as you do need the extra offense to take down the enemies, and you do need the defense. Otherwise, the fight against the worthless protoplasm will end a lot sooner. And not in your favor, let me add. So no matter your feelings on Bubble or on Jeff, you get Bubble Monkey now, which is pretty universally disliked by the community. Bubble Monkey randomly stops, randomly moves, and does whatever Bubble Monkey wants. If you're in a battle, Bubble Monkey can potentially help, but most likely Bubble Monkey causes you to get into that battle. Looks like we're having some stream issues here for Uko. Let me refresh. Uka's in chat telling us it's on testing now, but Ultimo will be going through the same sequence here, talking to Maxwell, getting the items there. Uko will just have to rely on the stream to come back shortly. All right, Ulti is now getting the bad key machine, and oh, there's Uko back, and the silence has ended. All right, as Uko gets off of Tessie here, Uko will be making a diagonal down left movement, seemingly out of the way. That is to avoid a 100% spawn plate of a Gruff Goat, which will easily kill you with no additional experience at this point. Right in the middle of those trees there. And pre-prepare for Brick Road. There are at least 3 encounters that you potentially have to face. The ultimate one is you face none of them, being able to skip past all 3. But the first one is the toughest skip of all, which happens so rarely. The other 2 are much more easily skippable. You're hoping the Worthless Protoplasm does not call for help, unlike what just happened here. If it's turn 1, I see a lot of runners deciding to defend to survive. Protoplasm, on average, does about 10 damage. Defending cuts that in half, and around turns 5 or 6, you start having the opportunity to have a realistic chance of running away. Due to the speed difference between Jeff and the Protoplasm, you start off with a negative chance to run. I see Uko here is not bothering with trying to set up the duck skip and just going straight for duck. If the duck is in the right spot, you're able to pull the duck down and get him stuck on the rocks in Brick Road and avoid the encounter. The third enemy here will be the second Worthless Protoplasm, which can be very easily skipped as long as Bubble Monkey cooperates. Once again, this is one of the reasons why Bubble Monkey is so disliked, because of the random stopping. Just like that, Uko is in the battle because Bubble Monkey did not keep up. The Worthless Protoplasm does latch onto Jeff's position and goes after where Jeff is, not Bubble Monkey, but Bubble Monkey 95% of the time, when he stops, is in the way. Alright, Uko will now be moving on to the Pond Cave, which can be a very difficult spot for spawns and spawn luck, depending on how good your stuttering is, can assist you in moving through this segment a lot faster. The risk you face here is you can stutter your way into more encounters, enough encounters that it could mess up your stuttering, but both Ulti and Uko are well experienced in the stutter department, so I'm not expecting to see any issues here. The second room here is the one where stuttering can really backfire, especially if there is enemies blocking that the third section of the second room here. Ooh, unfortunately, Uko thought the slug was going to hit first, was the rowdy mouse. Uko needs to be careful. The mouse can very easily take out Ness with the smash, or not Ness, but Jeff with the smash attacks. Fortunately, being able to run away, has that burger in the inventory to use if it looks like Uko will be in another encounter. This third room here, there's not really anything you could do to stutter. They're mushrooms. You can't stutter mushrooms. You just gotta despawn them. If you do end up in an encounter with a mushroom and get mushroomized, it will pick up from wherever the last mushroom encounter was. So if your controls were inverted to the right, it will pick up from there. Now for a favorite part, Bubble Monkey goes away. Bubble Monkey go chases Monkey Girl, and Jeff is free to be himself and walk without any party members. We'll see how aggressive Ulti is in the stuttering department here for Pond Cave. Knowing that he's not having the good luck that he usually has in these runs, we'll see how aggressive he is in the stutter department and what risks he'll take to try and make up time. Choosing to despawn that first section and stutter the second section of that first room there. Not having spawn luck in the second room here. That's going too well, but he's in. Uko will be going on the Skyrunner sequence here, which will take him to Threed, and we get to listen to one of my favorite sections of music, the Skyrunner. So all that's left for Uko at this point is to get to the Boogie Tent, which can be fairly uneventful, just as long as you keep an eye out for the bonus encounters Threed might try to throw at you, and to take down Boogie Tent. There's a couple of preparation things that can be done, picking up the Trash Bear Teddy to act as a decoy, making sure any party members are healed up if you so choose, and decide whether or not you're going to purchase additional bottle rockets or bombs. Ulti here is going to be choosing to skip the bottle rocket here that's in the present, hoping that the big bottle rocket will do enough damage along with anything he chooses to throw at Boogie Tent first round. So it looks like here Ulti is going to be behind by a full Skyrunner sequence. Boogie Tent here will be the deciding factor of this race. It can either let Uko go through easily, give him a tough time, or crush Uko. Got to be considering that the tent can flash party members and confuse them, make them cry, can outright attack and kill party members, can do a green light, which is basically a free turn. It raises the effect of Psy, and can spray fly honey. Uko choosing to get the Trash Bear Teddy. Some will skip that as an effort to save time. And just watching out for those bonus encounters. And by bonus, I mean it's like your boss telling you to work unpaid extra hours. All right, so there's two different strategies that can be used primarily. It can be defend, bottle rocket, which looks like Uko is choosing, or you can Brocken, do a side attack with Paula, and do a big bottle rocket attack. Go all out first turn. The more rounds you go on with Boogie Tent, the more likely Boogie Tent will kill you. And Boogie Tent is down. This match will be going to Uko with a very strong time. 1 hour, 5 minutes, and change. GG Uko. Ulti here still has to face Boogie Tent. We'll see what strategy Ulti will pick in preparation, whether or not he'll pick up the Trash Bear Teddy or not. And the official time is in for Uko. Uko finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 47 seconds. Uko will move on to the final two, which will either be versus Earthbound 1 or Background Guy 02, depending on how their match goes on Friday. What a very strong time and show put on by Uko. Good job. All right. We'll see what Boogie Tent has for Ultimo. Ultimo also choosing for defend, big bottle rocket. Fortunately, the teddy bear soaked up the damage and 555. So that was a nice strong attack. Just some cleanup side attacks will take down Boogie Tent here very easily. And then we'll see how fast Ulti can mash. He will either have a time just under 1 hour, 8 minutes, or just over, depending on how fast the text mashing is for him. Uko, on the other hand, is partaking in the classic Let's Break the Game at 3/10. There is a little bit of the portion there that you can reach out of bounds of the entire map, which reads into random access there and pulls in garbage text and starts corrupting the game. And you can potentially pull up the debug menu, which can allow you to warp to the end of the game if you know what you're selecting. Otherwise, random stuff can happen. Ultimoice has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 7 seconds. Both runners here have put on a very, very good show here. Both of them deserve your follows if you're not following them already. Congratulations to Uko. Uko, you will be moving on to the final two here. The next match in the Super Series here will be between Background Guy 02 and Earthbound 1 on Friday, November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I look forward to seeing you guys there at that race. And just quick shout outs here to Fusil for hosting us here on Speed Gaming. Thank you so much. And to all the admins that have put in their hard work here to make sure this tournament happens. I'm Arifram, and thank you for tuning into this race. I'll see you guys next time.